So like always, we like to draw things out so that we can get a good idea of what we're going to need and how it might look, if you will. This L shape, that you can see all the little hashtags and lines drawn, so this is where the cooling tubes are going to go. This is the house. We already have in the wall a tube that will come through, that comes through the wall to help provide that cooling. We're not sure if we're going to go straight out like this, or we might go at an angle, something like this. We're just not sure yet. We're going to put the tubes all together, just dry fit, and lay it out and decide what's going to be the best. So this trench is going to be 8 feet deep and about 80 feet long, maybe a little bit longer. And then we'll have about a 8-foot trench, as close as the guy is comfortable getting to our house. And then the pipes will come down or across and then come up, and one will terminate in the house and the other will be the intake. So over here, this shows the tube that's going to go through the wall and the outflow that goes into the house. And then this one demonstrates the intake. So this is just a rudimentary drawing indicating that we need rain and critter protection on that intake. So there'll be screen. We already have our rain cap, and we'll get it fitted inside the tube with a screen so we don't get any bugs or birds or snakes or anything down. And then these are going to go down below the ground, down to that 8 feet, elbow off, 2 separate lines. And then those lines will make that turn, either a right angle there or an angle to go toward this way in the yard, and that will provide our cooling. Now we're going to go 8 feet deep because that seems to be what the optimal depth is. You can get good cooling at 6 feet deep, but better cooling at 8 feet deep. And then things that I have read state that optimally, to get the absolute most, you should go down 20 feet, but you only gain about a degree or a degree and a half, or maybe 2 degrees difference by going down that additional 12 feet. And that's pretty darn deep for what we need. So we're just going to go down 8 feet. We've already contracted with someone to come out and dig our trench. 8 feet deep. And then we'll get these tubes laid in there. Once that is done, Dawn is going to rewire the main wiring, electrical wiring that comes into the house. Right now it's coming underground from here. The wires that we pulled, we feel in retrospect are not heavy gauge enough. So the powerhouse in relation is about over in this area. So once this is all done and the earth is packed back in that trench over those tubes, we're going to do another small trench where power is going to come around. The power is going to come around to the back of the house. And at about the place where the water heater is, we're going to rewire the main power into the house through that wall that's shared with the bathroom and the bedroom. So we got to get this done first in order to put that new power line in for the house. Here are our pipes, our ABS 4-inch pipes that we're going to be using for our geothermal cooling. It will be an underground system, and we'll show you as we move along on the process. We also have elbows, we have couplers, and then we have a little contraption that we're going to be using as the top vent that we'll have to screen, so no critters, rain, or bugs get in there. So what we're doing is we're setting up for our cooling. It's like a geothermal cooling system for the house. We're putting 160 linear feet of 4-inch ABS, all connected, 8 feet down underground, so that we can get some nice cooling. We're going to have 2 80-foot lines with a U shape at the end, made with a couple of right angles and a short piece to make sure we have our 18 inches. And that will give us enough space between the 2 tubes to give us a good amount of cooling. The air will go in, flow through as that warm air goes in, comes back out into the house, and it'll be a lot cooler. We'll have to see how much cooler it actually gets when we get it put down in there. Okay, so this is the part closest to the house where the intake and the outflow will erupt from the ground, if you will. Then we've got this turn. I can't get too close because I'm like, you know, not really good with heights. I don't know if we can see in there. We'll take a look. Pretty freaking deep. All the way down there. Amazing. I don't drop my phone. You'll notice that we're really close to these stand-ups for the step landing. So those last three boards go to the step landing that will take us up to the roof. And the inlet for the part that goes through the house is on the other side of that. So I'm going to go around. I'm not going to jump over this trench because, you know, that's just asking for disaster. So let me go around and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, here we are on the other side. I was just over that way, and now we're on the other side. So this board, you see the little smudges of mud. He hit that actually with his bucket. Didn't damage it, just kind of shifted a little bit, so we'll just get that knocked back in place. But you can see back here, there is the place that will hook up to be the inlet, the outflow that will flow the cold air into the house. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up drilling a hole in the center post, 4-inch hole, because that's what the size of the ABS is. Make our right angle and go through that way. Anything that's exposed above the ground, we're going to go ahead and cover. Excuse me, we're going to go ahead and cover with cob or some such substance, something to keep it insulated on this side of it, and then as well on this side where it's underneath these stairs. All right, so he's almost done. He's just cleaning up a little bit of the powdery stuff at the bottom. Don's taking some more pictures. And we'll be done with the ditch digging. Then we just got to put the pipe down in there. Okay, so we got to get these 2 long pipe setups down in the trench. And we don't know how. So we're going to try a couple things and see what works best. We got piles of dirt on both sides. We were hoping to keep it all in one, but the guy doing the trench was not able to do that for safety reasons. So yeah, gonna be fun because we got to get up and over that. And then Don's gonna put the right angles to the west end together in the hole in the trench. We'll have to cut a piece that's going to go in between those, and then he'll do the 45s and then the right angles that'll send both parts shooting up. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yikes.
We could use a cargo strap, wrap it around, and then both of us can pull it.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea. So what we're going to try to do is Donna's going to get down into the trench. From down there, we've got an extension ladder down in there. He'll come all the way down here to this end. I will drop one end of the long setup down, and we'll just try to gently put it down there if possible. And hope that that works, because we only have 2 tubes to put in. If it works, we'll do the second one that way. If not, we'll come up with another plan. We'll see. Right now he's going to go get a cargo strap. We're going to strap around the end of one of these so we can pull it more forward so that it meets up with our little 45-degree angle that is over here. And get it started there. So our biggest problem really is that we've got piles on both sides of the trench down on that west end. So that's going to be an issue. But if we can get this end started, it shouldn't be that hard. Actually, it might be better to start at the other end. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You'll see how it goes.
Ready?
Yep. Okay.
All the way to the end.
Oh, now you might have to leave the tractor. So pulling it with the strap worked. We just got to get the rest of it close so we can kind of slowly, carefully drop it in. So you might be wondering why we decided to put the pipe all together before putting it in the trench. And it's all about safety. We want Dawn down in there for the least amount of time possible so that if the walls collapse, which I hope they don't, he's down there just a minimum amount of time. Get him in, do these connections, and get him back out. I think at least lift that section up onto the hill.
You want to use the cargo straps?
Yeah, got another one over here too.
Well, we're done with this end for now.
Okay.
Because this end is going to go
Down in there.
down in the hole.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
I don't know if we should each grab a strap.
Well,
Because we're going to have to,
yeah.
you want to try to deal with our hands.
Use a strap down at the other end, but like on the second tube from the end. And I'll just go by hand here, and we'll, yeah, maybe we can just do that.
Put it up on the hill.
Okay. Let me get the other side of it, because I don't want to fall in the trench.
Yeah, get on that side.
Yeah.
So you don't fall in.
If we can get like there. What do you want to do? Okay. You want to just drop it in?
Might as well.
All right. I don't like this. There it goes. Maybe. Push it.
You don't want to cause an avalanche.
No, I don't. But some of the stuff that's kind of on the top is just falling in. How's it looking?
I'm going to go down there and
You want the other one down there too, or you want to just work with one at a time?
let's do one at a time for now.
Okay.
Where's the shovel at?
Oh, I'll go get it. If I remember what I did with it. You want me to hand it down to you? Be as painfully careful as you can be. I don't want to bury you in that hole. I don't want you to suffer. Okay, so much for a gentle drop. We just kind of rolled it in there. It went well, nothing happened. It's not broken, it didn't come apart. I'm going to take you down now to that end. You can kind of watch what he's doing. I don't know if you can see him in there. Maybe, it's kind of dark down there. He just told me it is cool down there, so yay.
There's sand.
And what? Sand?
There's sand.
Sand down in the pit. So what he's doing is he's moving this pipe over to one end. There is some loose material down there, it just can't be helped. Kind of trying to lodge it in that one side. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other tube. Put it in there. Then he'll work at this end to make our little U shape with the two right angles and a splice. And then we'll go down and work on the other end with our 245s. Get the two 10-foot parts laid that way. And then two more right angles to come up. Well, we stopped putting in all these pipes last night because it was starting to get dark. Our person who did our trench for us had to come back yesterday morning and finish up like I showed you. That took a little bit of time, maybe hour and a half. And then we had to go get some new angle pieces because we changed the layout a little bit. At first we were going to do just right angles, but we changed the angle of the trench a little bit, and we needed to get some 45-degree angles in order to get everything to fit properly. But let me show you what we did get done, and we're going to just basically repeat this a second time. We've got the second long part of the tube down in there, but I'll show you what we've got so far. All right, you can see this is the west end, and Dawn's going to have to move the ladder in order to make that U-turn there with the two right angle pieces and the little splicing piece. And you can see they're not apart right now. So the one on the right is the one that we just dropped in there last night. It was the last thing that we did. And so he's got to get it in place. We're not going to end up with a total of 18 inches of separation, but it's going to be fairly good. Probably closer to about 16 inches, 14 inches. I still feel that that's going to be appropriate. May not be optimal, but it will be okay. So 80 feet down to that corner there, and I'll go down there and show you what that's about. All right, so down at this corner, this is where the 45-degree angles, and it's a little scary for me, so hang on while I get over there. So there's the first one that Dawn put in, that first angle. We're going to do a second one next, not next to it, but across from it. This is from the west side, coming all the way down. We make this turn. We come over to the house side, right angle that comes up. And this one that's standing up will be the intake. This is where the hot air will come into, let me go this way, the hot air will come into this tube here at the top. Of course, we'll have it screened and we'll have a rain protection, so no bugs. Hopefully very minimal dust will get in there. No critters, no mice, no birds, no whatevers. It's going to flow through all the way down there. I know you can't see it because I'm just a big chicken. All the way down to the west end. It'll come back in the other parallel tube, which we don't have set up yet. It's going to be set up pretty soon. And that tube's going to come up, and it's going to go up into here, where we're going to make a hole in this middle leg, probably, most likely this middle leg here. And that'll go into the house. And that's where the cooler air during the summertime will be expelled or expressed through this opening and into the house to help cool everything down. So there's that. I'll hold on to something. We'll look down here. Anybody who knows me knows I am not good with heights. Dawn is the one getting down in the trench. I just cannot do it. Just can't. Just, can't. Anyway, he's a brave soul. He's doing that for us. So this is a passive geothermal cooling system. In the winter, if it gets cold enough, because this is going to be a constant temperature, we're not sure what it's going to be yet, maybe 60 degrees, maybe a little cooler, that can actually help on super bitter cold days. It can actually help warm the house. So, for example, if it's 0 or 10 degrees, we don't hardly ever get to 0. Last winter we got down to 17. It's still pretty cold. Between the mass that the walls contain, because they'll end up being about 16 inches thick, that is a thermal mass. It will hold some heat that will radiate back into the house overnight. And then if it's still a little chilly, if it's colder than what the temperature is underground, we can open up that port and let that now warm air in, or warmer air in, to help maintain a more enjoyable temperature inside during the winter as well. It is passive. There's no pumps moving the air. We may decide, if it doesn't move it fast enough, that we may put a small fan in the opening on the inside of the house just to help facilitate that. But the idea is that you bring the colder air in low, open up a high window, and like I said, all of our windows are double sash, so the top window opens up, so it gives us opening at the tops. Hot air wants to go out, hot air rises, the cold air is going to push that hot air out, and as that hot air is escaping, it's going to draw that cold air from that tube. As it cools down, being drawn in from the hot air outside, it'll cool down on that distance and be cold or cool as it comes back into the house. So once we get it all set up, we'll once we're finished with it, we'll see if we can get a temperature check, if we can get it to work. We're hoping. There are other ways to do geothermal cooling and heating. You can hire a company, and it's going to cost you just a ton of money to have them come out and do something. But they won't do something that's this basically simple. There are those types that use it's like irrigation tubing, I think, and it's just spirals and spirals and spirals and spirals of like a 1 inch or whatever that size of irrigation tubing is. But that's too is a little bit challenging. And I believe, I'm not sure, I'd have to really check, that they do require some way to draw that colder air into the house. I think it just works on a recirculation kind of thing where it pushes the warmer air through underground and then draws the colder air back out. So that's not really what we wanted. We don't want to have to consume energy to make this work. We want it to be passive, so that just by the nature of physics, I guess, heat rises, cold stays at the bottom, but you can push that hot air out by having the cold air come in through the bottom, and it's going to push the hot air up and out, and therefore, or thereby, cooling the house. So that's our goal. So I'll show you when we get this all done. He's going to work on it. He's over feeding a friend's horses. He's going to come out and finish this other side. And then we got to backfill everything. All this dirt's got to go back in a hole. And we'll talk about what we spent on everything. All the ABS tubing, the couplers, the right angles, even the glue if you want. And let you know what our total cost is going to end up being for this passive geothermal cooling system. So optimally, the two tubes should be 18 inches apart. Unfortunately, the guy who did our trench had a 24-inch bucket. His 30-inch bucket didn't have aggressive teeth on it. So we're going to go with what we've got. We're getting about 14 inches between the two. It's not optimal, but it's still acceptable. We are definitely 8 feet down everywhere. A couple of spots are a little bit deeper, and that's fine. So that's 8 feet is the optimal distance down. We are putting some spacers between the two tubes, and I'll show you what we're using. This is just, we're putting them in there just to keep them at that separating distance, so that when we do the backfill, the tubes don't inadvertently slip back together, or slip close together, I should say. So let me show you what we're using. We're utilizing something that could have been trash. So if you've watched our roofing video, you know that we use these 14-inch I-joists, and they're 14 inches from here to here, and that's giving us a nice space in between the two sets of tubing, the ABS, whatever that is, pipe. So we had a bunch of scraps that we trimmed off when we got the roof on, and we're going to utilize these in those spaces. We're putting them in vertically. Here, I'll show you like this. Kind of show you up here on the ground with these two pipes. So Don's putting them in like this between the pipes down there. Probably about 8 of them will go in, and that'll just help keep everything separated, and we don't have to worry about trying to get dirt underneath it, so the dirt will be on each side. These aren't going to be conductors of heat at all, so we don't have to worry about heat transferring from the intake to the outflow. So I think it's a wise decision that we're doing this, and it's going along great.
You want to try an angle?
Yeah, I'll give you a 45. We've got 2 of the 45, so we can try that. And if that works, then we can put the other 45 up here. You want me to hand you down a long tube?
This might change the angle a little bit. This is greater than 8 feet over here, right?
Yes.
Well, you want to try to angle it?
Yeah, I'll get you a 10-footer.
Where else would I be?
Looks like it's a no. You think it's a no for the 45? Should we just come straight up with a right? A 90?
Well, this is, at this point, I don't know if we got 8 feet here, because it's higher than that one.
Well, here,
I guess maybe I can try to shorten it.
Where are you wanting to know? But you're not on the ground. Oh, because the pipe's not on the ground. I see.
The pipe's not on the ground. I was measuring where the pipe is.
I see. Well, I'm not crazy about the way that angle made that stand-up come up. So maybe we should just do another right, and then let's try a right, I guess. You want me to take that out?
And shorten it.
Shorten the pipe you have in there?
This is a 90.
Dawn, late yesterday, as it was getting dark, went ahead and started doing a little bit of the back fill, getting this trench filled back in. You can see he got the piles that were on the left side of the screen are already down in the trench over there. And after he got this going, he was like, oh, I forgot to get the drone up and take a picture or some video of the entire thing completed. I'm not going to say entire thing completed because we still have to finish the connection to the house, but we need to get this backfill before we do that. So backfilling is going to continue on today. We hope we get it done today. I don't think we'll have a problem getting it done today at all. He's using the tractor, of course, and pushing it all in there. Now, some of these larger rocks we're going to keep out just to have available for anything that we might want to use them for, because we have two of those rocks that are kind of square, which I just find so fascinating. So, just about done. All right, so I told you I was going to tell you what we've spent on this entire project. The total that we spent on all of the pipe, the fittings, the glue was $955.53. And then the total amount to get the trench dug was $600. That was $75 an hour for 8 hours for the trench. Could have taken a little bit less time if we hadn't had a couple of glitches there. But I'm happy to pay that because it's something that we could not have done on our own. 8 feet down through all this stuff. The product, we bought at a big box store. We did get some quantity discounts. The pipe itself had a quantity discount when you bought 8 or more of those 10-foot sections, and we ended up buying 21. And then also Dawn, being a retired military veteran, we got an additional discount for that, a 10% discount overall for all the products. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So what we used as far as product goes is the 4-inch ABS 10-foot sections. We used 21, or we will have used 21. We've got one more piece to go into the house. The 4-inch couplers, we used 16. The 4-inch right angles, the end will be 5 because we'll need one more to go into the house. The 4-inch 45 degree angles, we use 2. And then our vent cap is 1. And one of the containers, the big containers of that ABS glue stuff that you smear around to get them to stick together. So I did look at some of the prices this morning before I came out to tell you what we spent. And the ABS pipe has actually gone up $15 each above what we paid, above the list price that it was before we got our discounts at the store. So it went from just under $53 each section of 10-foot section of 4-inch ABS to now it's just under $68 for each of those sections. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So I'm kind of glad that we bought. We were thinking about waiting because we were hoping that the price would come down. When we bought this same ABS pipe, when we did connected to our septic system, it was not even that $53-ish mark. It was more, maybe half that. And that was just a couple of years ago. So it's outrageous. But overall, what we spent on the entire project, as far as all the products that we used and the payment for getting the trench dug, was $1,555.53. That's that. When we get it finished and connected to the house, we'll show you all of that and show you what the temperature of the air flowing from the outside to the inside. Now it is cooler. Of course, it's fall. It's cooler than the 100 degrees that we were having in the summer. But there still should be some indication. We'll still be able to tell how cool that air is coming back out the other end. Alrighty. So I think that's going to be it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, put them in that comment section down below the video, and we'll get back to you on some answers. Oh, one more thing that I did want to touch on, because I know someone's going to ask. If we're worried about radon, this system, we don't have to worry about radon. All of the connections are glued and therefore sealed, and there's no perforations in the pipe. The pipe is fairly thick, so that radon gas will not get into the house. That will not seep into these pipes. It will not get into the house, so we are protected from any kind of radon exposure. If it were a perforated pipe, which would be silly for a ventilation kind of thing or a cooling system, then we would probably have to worry about the air that's coming through. But it's not perforated in any way, so no radon scares for us. Anyway, that's going to be it. We hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.